Hey guys, welcome back. Orbomb here, bringing you another one of our live deck profiles. This is continue on from our Alolan Muck GX versus Tapu Koko GX video, and every single time I record a video, my phone goes off. I don't know why. Nobody ever messages me IRL. Regardless, we're doing Tapu Koko today. Now, Tapu Koko, I'm very excited about this deck. Obviously, the match that we uploaded didn't do this deck too much justice, but it is literally one of my favorite decks to play right now. It is really fun. It's a really fun trolley-esque deck that just completely denies knockouts the whole time. And between Aether Paradise, fighting Fury Belt, using Tapu Koko's ability, Acerola and Super Scoop Up to put the damaged Kokos back into your hand, well, you can potentially make your opponent never take prizes while you're doing consistent damage. So we're going to go over the deck. First things first, we do have our 4 Tapu Koko GX. If you guys don't know, Tapu Koko GX is an excellent card. I don't know why I took 2 with me. Let's do right here. Yeah, still getting the hang of this, guys, but we'll get it. All right. So as you can see, Tapu Koko GX, 170 HP, no weakness, no resistance, 2 retreat cost Pokemon. It has the ability Arrow Trail. Let's see. When you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench during your turn, you may move any number of electric energies from your other Pokemon to this Pokemon. If you do, switch this Pokemon with your active Pokemon. So say you have like a Tapu Koko on the field, right? It took 180 points of damage, right? Assume you have a Fighting Fury Belt attached, right? So you're not dying, all right? So what you do is you get another Tapu Koko, you put it down, move all the energies from this Koko to this Koko, and then you make it active. And then you put the damage one on your bench. Then you either use Acerola and Super Scoop Up, putting not only the Tapu Koko back into your hand, but also the Fighting Fury Belt, giving you a chance to attach that Fighting Fury Belt to the new active one. So I really like Tapu Koko because its combo pieces are very, very, very strong. It's not a strategy that relies on much else besides, you know, random cards you play in your deck. It's not like heavily dependent on like multiple combo pieces, like you have to play Salazzle and you have to land Super Scoop Up, and you have to, it's harder to get those cards into your hand. With Koko, it's easy, it's fun, and it's reliable. All right. Now, before I get farther into this deck, actually, no, we're gonna get that before. Okay, never mind. We're just gonna keep going. All right. So up next, we also play a 1 of Jolteon. I just like Jolteon in electric decks in general. Jolteon has a very strong attack and Flash Ray. If you guys don't know, let's see if I can focus here. I need to. Oh, well, I'm moving too much. Let me try that again. There we go. During your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage of this Pokemon by attacks from your basics. So it's good against decks like, let's say, the Mirror Match. Kokos can never attack you. It's good against Volcanion, Darkrai decks, because they're all running basics to attack you. So it's a good way to just stall for time, or just solo the whole thing with Jolteon, assuming they don't play Ranger or something like that. So I like that about Jolteon. Also, free retreat mon. I do like the fact that it's a free retreat mon. It's the only free retreat mon you have in this deck, so it's pretty handy. You play a 1 of Raikou. I wouldn't normally play Raikou in this deck, but because like for 3 energies you're doing 110, so you're actually doing less damage than Koko would do. You need 4 energies to do the same amount of damage, 5 energies to do more. Shining Body is great. Combined with Fighting Fury Belt and Aether Paradise, you're taking 50 less damage while having 160 HP, which means they have to hit 210 to knock you out, which is cool and all. But the main reason why I like Raikou is because it's a non-EX GX attacker. So things like that new Aurora Veil, Ninetales, and stuff like that, they can't, you can't damage them unless you're attacking with Raikou. So that's the main reason why I'm using Raikou in this deck, because having a non-GX EX attacker is always good. And now, one last card that I like and I want everyone to think about whenever we go later into the deck about changes I would potentially make, is actually Marshadow GX. This is a Japanese hyper rare. My buddy Joseph gave it to me. Shout out to Joseph. Joseph was also the reason why we were able to do a lot of these live deck profiles, because he got a bunch of Japanese cards and I was able to actually go to Office Depot and make copies of them. So if you guys don't know, Marshadow has the attack that has the ability to let you copy the attacks of basic Pokemon in your discard pile, which is all of our cards. Funny enough, all of our Pokemon are basic attackers. So if any of our Pokemon in discard pile, if we need a fighting type attacker, we can use Marshadow. Marshadow is good against dark decks, good against the mirror match to an extent if you're not battling the Kokos. It's good against Muck if they don't get out their other Muck, because it does turn off its ability. So yeah, having a fighting type attacker is just nice in general, because a lot of things are weak to fighting that are good. So it's handy to keep on hand. But also Marshadow does open up a lot of potential in this deck as well. You could play other basics. A big one that I'm considering adding in the deck right now, but I haven't added yet, is Drampa. Honestly, I'm not too sure if I would like Drampa. The main reason why I would like Drampa right now is because after that Muck matchup, having Righteous Edges and attack would have been good, and another Pokemon that can hit 150 easily would have been pretty nice. It's also a good GX attack to have if you're not going to be using the Tapu Koko's GX attack, which does do 50 damage for each energy on the board, which could be handy. It's a nice blow up attack, which is my favorite type of GX attacks, blow up attacks. If I end up liking Marshadow a lot, I might add a second one with maybe 1 or 2 fighting energies, because Marshadow's GX attack is, I believe, 50 damage for each basic energy attached to Marshadow. So as long as you have 1 fighting energy, you can do a lot of damage. Once again, because you're probably gonna have 3 electric energy attached to this thing, right? Or maybe like 2 electric, 1 fighting, because that's all you really technically need. But if you have 3 electric, 1 fighting, you're doing 200 damage as a GX attack before choice ban. So it's also handy in case your opponent's playing really smart around the Tapu Koko GX attack. It could be nice to have. And to round things off, we are also playing 2 Tapu Lele, just searching things. Different sleeves, they're from a different deck, but I figured you guys didn't want to see these on the screen. So that is the Pokemon lineup. Very, very simple, very efficient. Also, let me know what kind of cards you would like to see being played in this deck as far as Pokemon goes, because if you do play Marshadow and kind of make it like an electric Marshadow box with a heavy emphasis on Tapu Koko, which could be a deck style that you play with this, you could add more basic Pokemon like Drampa and stuff like that. The only thing is, deck space is a huge issue if you are doing the Tapu Koko focus, and you'll see why in a second. But we're going to move on to supporters. I am playing, of course, standard dot deck, 4 Sycamores, and 4 Ends. And in this specific deck, that's just draw support, you guys, I don't have to go into that. In this specific deck, I am going to be playing 4 Acerola. That's still AZ. Set hasn't come out yet. Kill me. I don't know. I've been waiting for this set for way too long, just because I want these cards already. But 4 Acerola, it's imperative in this deck. Your goal in this deck, chip damage while denying knockouts completely. So I love Acerola in this deck. I am playing 4. I'm also playing 3 Guzma, just because Guzma is good, being able to get those knockouts that you need later in the game. Now, I'm not playing any other supporters. No Bridget, clearly. No Fan Club. Don't really like Fan Club because you're usually going to be drawing a lot anyways. So not the biggest fan of Fan Club. What other supporters are of relevance? I mean, we lost Hex. I would have played Hex, but we lost Hex. I don't know what other supporters I would play in this deck. I mean, 4, 8, 12, 15 supporter, it's pretty decent. It does make you a little bit weaker to Muck, or to what's it called, the card that is Garbodor. It does make you a little bit weaker to Garb, but I think you'll be fine against Garb. As long as you don't play too many items, you can control your item. You can control a little bit how many items you play. And you'll be fine, because you hit 130 anyways with Tapu Koko, which already OHKOs them as it is. As far as items go, we are playing 4 Ultra Ball, 4 Max Elixir. I like Max Elixir. This deck is really interesting, right? Because realistically, also, forgive me for the glare. Let me see if I can fix that. So, professional as best, guys, but give me 1 second. See if I can do this real quick. Slightly darker. Nope. It's probably coming from over here then. I'm really bad at YouTube, guys. Wow, where is the light coming from? It's coming from over there, but I closed all the windows. My God, this is so difficult. Oh, whatever. It's at least a little bit more visible than it was. I don't know why it's shining. So I guess it's because they're all reverse hollows. But regardless, All right, 4 Max Elixirs, because I mean, you really only need 3 energies at a time. If you ever get in a situation where one of your Tapu Kokos do get knocked out, you have to put 3 more energies on the field relatively quickly, which is what Max Elixir is for. You don't want to overextend. You don't want to put too many energies on the field, at least not on the same Pokemon. You do want to spread it out as much as possible so that you can constantly chain your Tapu Kokos. So I like Max Elixir a lot in this deck. You definitely need 4 of them if you want to make your strategy work. And also, just like the Acerola, 4 Super Scoop Up, putting your Lele's, your Marshadows, your Jolteons, and your Kokos back into your hand. Mainly Lele, Jolteon, Marshadow, just to get them out of the field so they're not prize liabilities. And then Kokos just to cycle through your Kokos. As far as our 1-of supporters, I guess technically this is a 2-of, and this is also a 2-of. We are playing 2 Rescue Stretcher because you want to get your Kokos into your hand. You're going to be discarding Pokemon, Sycamore and Ultra Ball. This is how it is. So getting your Kokos back into your hand and even getting them back into the deck could be very useful. 2 Field Blowers, Garbodor. Really, that's it. Garbodor is a threat. Also gets rid of Fighting Fury Belts or Choice Bands or things that could be threatening to your Kokos. Very handy because of that. And a 1-of Super Rod, which I'm just going to, I guess, put a little bit closer. Do right there, right? A 1-of Super Rod, putting the energies back in the deck. That's really the only reason you would play Super Rod, because you have your 2 Rescue Stretchers, you have your 2 Field Blowers. Super Rod's just there to put 3 energies back in the deck, so it's easier to land Max Elixirs. You could also play Energy Recycler, although I mean, you're never gonna need to put that many energies back in the deck, and I like the versatility of Super Rod, which is why I always play Super Rod over Energy Recycler. But you know, if you want to do that, you can. We also play, I'm gonna put this over here actually, 4 Aether Paradise Conservation Area. It's really important in this deck. I tried it with 3 because I was like, maybe 4 is overkill, but having 4 so that you can constantly have it on the field is so important. So I'm definitely sticking with 4. I think any less than 4 is not good. So play your 4 Aether Paradise. If you guys don't know, electric type Pokemon take 30 less damage from attacks if they're basic electrics, and grasses of course. So having that could help you with let's say that promo Tapu Koko, none of your Pokemon can be damaged by that card because you have the Aether Paradise out. Taking 30 less. See, even without fighting Fury Belt, in order for Koko to be knocked out, they have to hit you for 200 if they want to knock you out from full. So it's a tall order for a lot of decks to be able to pull that off. So I love 4 Aether Paradise because even if they do Field Blower it, if they have a Stadium More, I already turned putting my phone on silent. You still have a high chance of landing it, of like keeping them on the field, because you also play your own 2 Field Blowers, so you should win the Stadium More. So I do like it a lot in this deck. Let's see, 3 Fighting Fury Belts. I like the 3 Fighting Fury Belts. I think it's good. You need the Fighting Fury Belts. I think I would up. I might even consider upping it to 4. I just never really had a reason. I feel like I've always found it, and I've always kept it back into my hand because of the Acerola and the Super Scoop Up. So I've always managed to cycle through my belts. That's not a big deal. And I also play a 1-of Choice Band. This is a card that you could really remove if you really want to. But I like Choice Band in this deck because you can hit that 160. Sometimes you need to hit that 160. It's very rare. And I don't play Kukui in this deck list. I don't feel like there's bench space for Kukui or deck space in Kukui, which is why I'm not playing it. Also, without VS Seeker, I don't like playing 1-of supporters anymore. I could bump the Kukui count to 2 so that I can hit those 180s whenever I need to, combined with Choice Band. I just really don't feel like it's necessary in this deck. So I'm only playing a 1-of Choice Band, and that is a card that is easily removable in this deck list. So if you don't like it, you can take it out. And as far as the energy counts go, I am playing, let's see, how am I going to do this? Is this all visible? Let me see if I can do it this way. That should be good, right? And then you can see the Super Scoop Up still if I bump it up a little bit. All right, cool. All right, so we're playing 4, 8, 11. I really want to bump up the energy count. So if anything, I might remove Choice Band for a 12th energy, so just so I can land Max Elixirs easier. But for now, I am playing 11 energies, and I might actually make that change very soon. I don't feel like Choice Band is super necessary, but I've also find it to be kind of clutch in some situations that I couldn't get 2 KOs in very easily. So I like Choice Band, but that's the deck list. How I feel about this deck list? Well, the only thing I don't like about this deck list is the fact that you're not getting Okos very easily, and that nothing in the format's weak to electric that's actually relevant. We used to be really excited about playing electric decks because Yveltal was a thing, right? But now, like, Yveltal's Yveltal's still in the format, but it's not defining the meta by any means whatsoever. I think not having weakness, I think being bulky, I think having access to Aether and Fighting Fury Belt's great. Hitting for 130, 140 with Belt, 160 with Ban, I think that's amazing because you're essentially 2KOing everything. But the issue is your opponent also has Super Scoop Up and Acerola. Not every deck is going to be playing heavy counts by any means, but it is still kind of a threat. Obviously, Alolan Muck is a really hard matchup to win because we don't have Secret anymore, right? And you could bump up the Guzma count to 4 if you really want to, but the issue that I found myself having is that between Sycamoring and Ultra Balling, I found myself in 3 out of the 5 games I played just that one day with Alolan Muck versus Tapu Koko, that by the time Alolan Muck got on the field, I no longer had any Guzmas, and it's really hard for me to get Guzmas. It shouldn't be really hard because you have Super Scoop Up for the Lele's, but it still ends up being difficult just because you want to continuously cycle through your own deck. Other than that though, the Gardevoir matchup, it's not really that bad because what they hit you for 90, they need 3 of their own energies for them to knock you out, which is actually pretty easy for them. But then you have Aether and Fighting Fury Belt. They usually only play 1, maybe 2 Field Blowers, so you have to be a little bit careful about that. But if you have Aether out, they have to hit you for 200, which means that they would need to have, what is that, 7 energies? So I'm 14, 21. They need to have 7 energies, so maybe 6. So maybe they would only need 3 energies on a choice band. So the Gardevoir matchup maybe not the best matchup because it seems relatively easy for them to pull that off. But it's also, if you have Fighting Fury Belt, that goes from needing 7 energies to 8 energies. So there's that benefit as well. So that's something maybe to keep in mind. What other matchups? Metagross is an easy win for you. They can hardly ever knock you out. They need to constantly get Field Blowers and get rid of the Stadium and your Fighting Fury Belt in order for them to ever knock you out. So Metagross is a very easy victory for you because you can chip down their field a lot. Sure, they have max potions, but once they use up their max potions, you have a lot more endurance, a lot more, what's the word I'm looking for? A lot more resources than Metagross does, because they usually have maybe 3, 4 max potions while you have 4 Super Scoop Ups, 4 Acerola. So you should be able to win that matchup pretty easily, and Metagross is a good contender. Volcanion, they need to steam up a lot, and they have to consistently steam up, and they take a little bit longer to set up than you do unless you whiff all your max elixirs. So you're able to knock things out relatively easily. Hitting 130 is great. Also, you do have access to your GX attack to blow up anything that has too much energy attached to it, because they will have a lot of energy on the field. So your Volcanion matchup is pretty decent. What else is okay? Ninetales matchup is pretty good as well. It's really hard for Ninetales to knock you out. The most Ninetales can hit you for is 210. So they will never knock you out if you have both Aether and Fighting Fury Belt. So it's pretty handy. Although they can put chip damage on the bench, so if you whiff an Acerola or you flip Tails on a Super Scoop Up, your Kokos do become a little bit of a liability thanks to its first attack, doing 50 anywhere on the board. Lapras is kind of the same way. They can only hit a maximum of 210. So same thing there, but the only thing is Lapras is faster than Ninetales, so you have to be careful there. But Lapras doesn't have the ability to hit the bench, unless they play Feeny, and if that's the case, I like Feeny as a card. I'm pretty excited about Feeny. Greninja is a tough matchup, but you do Oko Greninjas before they become breaks. So in that matchup, I would just play down to Koko and just start attaching as many energies as you possibly can to it, and then just start hitting them before they become breaks. And as soon as they do become breaks, you're in a lot of trouble. I'm not gonna lie, Greninja's a tough matchup. So Koko, I'm kind of like in the air about Koko. I think it's gonna be a strong B tier deck, tier 2, whatever you want to call it. Very strong tier 2 deck. I don't think it's going to be tier 1 by any means, but it is a lot of fun to play. It is a fan favorite. Let me know what you guys think about the deck. Let me know what changes you would make. Let me know how you guys are playing, because I know I have a lot of my own viewers that are trying out Tapu Koko. A lot of my viewers are really excited about Tapu Koko. I've been talking for a long time though. This video has been almost 20 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and end it here. Drop a like, subscribe, share all the good jazz. Let me know what live deck. Let me know if you guys like live deck profiles, because the set's coming out soon. So I'm probably going to stop doing live deck profiles and just go back to PTCGO. But if you guys like these live deck matches and live deck profiles, I can try to do it once a week, once every 2 weeks, something along the lines of that. So let me know what you guys think. Drop a like, subscribe, share all the good jazz, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.